computer screen who can't be here today. But you guys are my now pronounced leaders. So if anyone needs help, make sure to send them to you. So the reason why we need a little bit of extra help in this area of how to learn to our body is not because we innately don't know how to trust ourselves and listen to ourselves, but it's because we've been confused along the way because of media, the environment, other people around us. Because think about it this way. If you're walking outside and it's snowing and you're in a t-shirt, you're not questioning yourself. You're like, "Oh, I'm cold." It's like your body, you're listening to your body signals. You're like, "I'm cold." If you have to pee, you go, "Oh, I have to pee. My bladder's full. I can feel that. I have to pee." But imagine as it is with our hunger signals and the food we're eating and how we're feeling, and people are always have opinions about that. Imagine every time you're like, "Oh, I have to pee. I'm just going to go to the bathroom." And someone was like, "No, you can only pee between the hours of 12 and 8. You'll gain weight if you pee after 8." You'd start to be like, "Oh shit, maybe I don't have to. Okay, I'll try to hold it." So you start ignoring it. Or it's a sunny day and you're like, "Oh, I'm cold." And you go to put a sweater on, and then some diet book is like, "It's April. You're not allowed wearing jackets." So then you start to distrust your ability to tell the temperature of your body. And so that's what's happened over the years with our ability to listen to our body with what we're eating and how it makes us feel. Because we're like, "Ooh, I'm craving a pasta." And then someone's yelling, "No, carbs are bad." And then you're feeling tired, so you don't eat the carbs. But then somebody else is saying, "You need carbs. It's your brain's source of fuel." So then it just gets confusing. It's contradicting all over the place. You kind of lose touch with what your body needs. Has anybody felt that way before, feeling a little confused about what their body needs? A little bit. So this will be kind of your chance to touch back in with that. So as you're writing things down, it will be a practice too to tune in like, "Oh, okay, did that keep me full for 3 or 4 hours?" That'll be a good clue to be like, "Did I have a really satiating breakfast, or was it 10 a.m. and I was trying to do my work, but then all I could think about was the cookies in the staff room?" And before, we'd spend all our time beating ourselves up because we're thinking about cookies. When we're actively bringing awareness, we'll go, "I might, you know what? Maybe I'll try adding protein to my breakfast. Maybe my breakfast wasn't good enough, and that's why my head was going there." So it just will help us kind of get back in touch with our body a little bit. An acronym that I like to use to give people some tangible tools of checking in with their body is called SHREDS. So I'll send you guys a little recap of this, but you can write it down if you want. But it's SHREDS. So S stands for sleep. That's a clue on if things are working for your sleep, like if they're working for your body or not. Are you falling asleep easily? Are you waking up multiple times in the middle of the night? Are you waking up rested? Are you like sleeping 10 hours, but you wake up still feeling like a bag of crap? That's one way to tune in to see what's working well for your body. One of those things could be like, say you're a woman, you've hit menopause, you're waking up a million times in the middle of the night. A thing you could try is having a complex carb and some protein an hour before bed. Maybe it was that your blood sugar was going on a roller coaster, so your body kept waking up in the middle of the night. So these are all clues of things to try, but we wouldn't even know what we would be trying if we're not listening to our body and looking at those clues. If you're a dude trying to like make gains in the gym and you can't get to the gym the next day because you slept like crap, so your body didn't recover, so you can't hit the 6 a.m. workout, it's like, those are all clues to listen into what's working or not working for your body. So sleep. And then hunger and hormones is H. Do you have an appetite? If you don't have an appetite at all, it's probably a clue that you've been chronically undereating and your body has lowered your metabolism. Or if you're hungry all the time, it may be a clue that your meals aren't satiating enough, or you're missing out on some vitamins and minerals. So your body's yelling at you to eat more, even though you're physically full. The quality of your food may not be up to par because your body's still giving you those hunger signals because it's missing something. So these are little questions to ask. And the H is hunger and also hormones. I slid that one in there for women because another kind of monthly report card that we get each month is your cycle. Is it regular? Do you have crazy PMS? Do you have headaches? Do you have cramps? All these are clues to how is the physical health of your body. If your PMS is super bad, it may mean that you're not getting enough for what your body needs, because during that time, our metabolism bumps up like 15%. That's why you get more cravings and stuff. Then we feel bad because we have cravings, so then we restrict even harder, and the cycle just kind of continues. So these are all little ways to tune in. You with me so far? We got S and H down. I'm glad I can see you guys. It's so funny. I feel like I'm doing a monologue, but anyways, hope this is helpful information. So there's S and H, and then R is for rest and recovery. How's your energy in workouts? Have you been like plateaued at a 20-pound dumbbell for like 6 months and not bumped up? Maybe you're not eating enough protein, or you're not eating enough in general so that your muscles can't grow and you can't push it to that next level. Or you're not eating enough carbs because you don't have enough energy to push it in the workouts. The other thing for rest and recovery is if you're feeling wrecked after workouts, sometimes we're like, oh, we must need to take it easy. We might be overtraining. But if we're not an Olympic athlete, it's usually not the overtraining that's happening. It's because the human body can train a lot, but it's the under eating, the under recovering, under fueling that's giving us the problem. So you can work out lots as long as you're sleeping well and recovering and fueling enough. So if you're feeling wrecked after a gym, that's a clue that you might not be getting enough for what your body needs. If you're getting sick all the time, if like every time your niece comes over with the sniffles, you end up with a cold, it's a sign that your immune system isn't getting what it needs. And then we've got energy. What's your energy like throughout the day? So you can kind of like put this shreds, this acronym down where you're keeping your food journal if you want, and kind of make these notes because it'll all be little clues. If you find you're tired and wired, have you ever had that where you like wake up and you feel like a bag of garbage, even though you slept 8 hours, but then it's 11 p.m. at night and you're like, I'm going to go organize my entire cupboard because then you get a weird boost of energy at 11 when you're supposed to be calming down. That's a clue your body's showing you that your cortisol levels are flipped the wrong way. So then you'll need to, change the quality and quantity of your foods, do some more stress management, things like that. Or if you feel like you need a nap at 2 p.m., that could be a clue that your blood sugar levels aren't stable. So then you might look at your food journal and see like, oh, hey, I had a bagel for breakfast. So I had energy for like an hour and then it crashed. Or I had a bagel and then a sandwich. So it was mainly just carbs all day. So then by 2 p.m., I wanted to take a nap. So then you can try adding some fats and fiber and protein to each meal, and you may notice your energy levels are more stable throughout the day. I could go on. I will try not to, but we'll get through D and S. So then D is digestion. Another way to stay mindful while you're keeping your food journal, to do this in an active way, is to tune in with your digestion. Is it regular? And it's never TMI. If anyone has questions about digestion, it's never TMI, so don't be shy to ask. But yeah, are you bloating? Are you gassy? Do you have heartburn? Some people think heartburn may be common, but it is not normal, and you do not have to live with it. Don't take Tums every day. So if you have heartburn, hit me up. But things like that. Is your digestion moving too fast or too slow? All of those are clues for what tweaks to make with your digestion. You may look at, say things are moving a bit too slow. When you look back and we go over your food journal, we may notice, oh, looks like fiber levels are really low. That's going to be a focus. So then things can move more efficiently. And last but not least is the stress. So sometimes you can't take stress off your plate. Like say you've got 3 kids and one's got gastro, and then you can't be like, I'm just gonna not pay attention to Timmy. There's only so many things that you can unload off of your plate stress wise. So when you can't unload things off your plate, you need to bolster yourself so that you're better able to handle higher levels of stress. And if you feel like you're overwhelmed and not able to handle the current levels of stress in your life, those are also clues that we can work and make some tweaks in your food journal and lifestyle to better prepare you for those higher levels of stress so that you don't end up getting burnt out. So that is SHREDS. That's a little acronym for how to tune in with your body so that while you're keeping your food journal, you're learning to pay attention with what's working and kind of put your detective hat on with that. So do we have any questions about SHREDS or the food journaling? It's looking pretty good. Nice. I know it's a Tuesday, so I won't take up too much of your time, but we went over the big rocks. Oh, the other thing I wanted to point out, because technically it's day one tomorrow, and I wanted to make sure if people have ever done challenges or things in the past, oftentimes there's a big list of like things to cut out and things to not have. So then our brain goes into a bit of this like lack mentality, being like, day one starts tomorrow. I better just clean out my cupboard of all the snacks and goodies. So don't do that. This is your reminder that there are no restrictions. We don't need to live in that lack mentality. There are always going to be foods available to us just for flavor, just for joy, just for social connection. Day one is just day one of the challenge, but it's not day one of I have to eat perfectly and clean and whatever that means to me. So don't feel like tonight is some type of like last summer supper or like clean out the cupboards kind of thing. Because sometimes in our brain, we think, okay, it's going to be a clean, I'll just get it over with now and tomorrow will be a clean slate. Has anyone ever like had that thought in their head? Like it'll be fine. Tomorrow I'll start fresh. But it's almost like saying like, okay, I'm in Ontario. I'm going on a road trip to Nova Scotia and I'm leaving tomorrow. And then it's like saying, okay, well, tonight I'm going to drive to Manitoba. It's like, it's not actually getting you any closer to your goal. You are taking like 10 steps kind of in the other direction. But our brain wants us to feel comfortable. So we'll convince ourselves that like, for some reason, nothing that we do today will affect us tomorrow. And the one thing I like to do to kind of help battle that is to remind ourselves that our morning routine starts the night before. Everything that happens to you tomorrow is being built by the choices that you make in this moment. And sometimes it's easy because we live around a 24-hour clock to just like break our days up and to not see how they're all attached. But if you ever feel caught in that cycle, try to remind yourself of that. My morning routine starts the night before, and it's all building. So I just hope that helps if anyone was kind of caught in that spiral with challenges in the past. So I didn't want to forget to say that. What else was important? So there is a $500 cash prize as a little extra incentive. I always, even though I know that the real prize is feeling better and learning about yourself, I always like to add a little bit of extra thing as a compelling reason, because really we think we don't have the willpower to do something, but it's actually that we need to find a more compelling reason. Like say you wanted to say, oh, I didn't want to, I want to do it where it's not food. So we don't, I don't want to wear those shoes. They give me blisters, but we love how they make us feel. So we put them on anyways. And then we think we just need more willpower to avoid the shoes that make us feel like crap. But if your dog came by and barfed in your shoes, you'd have the capability of not putting the shoes on. You just needed a more compelling reason to not want to put them on. So know that you have the capability to do what you want, regardless of what that is. You just need to dig deep and find a more compelling reason to want to do it. We're capable of doing anything, but we're human, so we just need a compelling reason. So hopefully the feeling better and also the shot at $500 kind of adds a little extra juice. So to qualify for that $500, you just need to keep that food journal every day for the first 2 weeks. And then following the first 2 weeks, there's a couple of people popping in. Following the food journal for the first 2 weeks, you have the option to book a one-on-one diet assessment. And then kind of the fun challenge part of that is 4 weeks, we're going to work to hit the targets: 2 liters of water, 6 cups of fruits and veggies. That includes like beans and legumes. I'll send you guys what all counts towards it after, and protein at each meal. So there's still no restrictions, no things that aren't allowed. Save our brain from getting into that lack mentality. But we're going to focus on all the things that we can add in. So while you're keeping your food journal, kind of take a look at your day to day. Be like, oh, how far am I away from having protein at every meal, 2 liters of water, 6 cups of fruits and veggies? And then practice kind of getting there. If you're only at 2, throw in an extra piece of fruit as a snack. So use those 2 weeks to build up to those targets. And we don't need to do anything 100% of the time to see progress. And I don't want you to get stuck in that all or nothing mentality. So to qualify, it's like, I want you to check in each day if you've hit those tasks whenever we're at that stage. But you just need to be successful with them 80% of the time, 80% consistent to be in the pool to win the prize, because life is never 100% all or nothing. So there is wiggle room. But we just want most of the time for you to focus on giving your body the building blocks that it needs. So that's what will be coming up after the food journal, so you can start practicing towards that. But it's almost been half an hour, and I want to touch back in with you guys. Is that all making sense so far? Do you feel confident moving forward, excited for what's to come? Any questions? Oh, here, I think there was one in the thing. So one of the tough things with maintaining a healthy diet is to figure out a food plan that has enough protein, vegetables, fruits, and carbs in every meal. So that's a good question. Trying to figure out a food plan that has enough. So the first thing I would do is ask, because by the sounds of that question, it's almost as if there's an idea of what they might think is the right amount of protein, vegetables, fruits, carbs. And there's no you that's ever existed before. So doing the food journal will give you an opportunity to figure out, instead of trying to hit these arbitrary like targets that somebody else is setting, you get to kind of figure out what is enough for you. But if you mean how, like when we go to those tasks of getting protein at every meal, fruits and veggies, like, you mean how to hit those targets, like something that makes it easier to get those foods in? I just want to make sure I'm giving a good answer to that.
Hi.
Yeah, this will be easy. Hit me up.
It's mostly to find a variation of multiple food, because I tend to eat 2 eggs in the morning. Well, then, you get tired of eating that every morning, but you need to find another protein to cover that. So it's to find different proteins for different meals. That's the hard part. Like a variation,
For sure. Yeah, I find it easier, instead of focusing on things as like specific different recipes, is to have in your mind like, okay, here's a list of good sources of proteins, here's a list of fruits and veggies and easy ways to prepare them. And then in my mind, instead of trying to follow a meal plan and looking for specific things, I go, okay, most of my meals, I'm going to try to build them around half a plate of plants and a source of protein. So even if, say, every morning it's like, okay, every morning I have eggs, but you can switch that up in a lot of different ways. You could roast up like potatoes and squash and beets and carrots and throw that in the pan and then crack a couple eggs. And that'll feel very different than the next day having avocado toast with eggs on top. Or you could have boiled eggs and then fruit and nuts. So it kind of follows the same template, but you can mix and match things in there to give you that feel of variety. And then I also love, like, keep it simple on yourself by going and getting prepared foods, because that way you can get variety. Because it's tough, like say you live by yourself or there's only 2 of you in the house. It's hard to get variety because food will go bad. So if you get the prepared foods, say you get the already made salads or the bean salads, then you can get a whole bunch of different types of plants and proteins and get your variety that way. if that, hopefully that gave a little help with how to kind of keep the same simple template, but you can switch things in and out. One week you get a bag of apples, next week you get a bag of nectarines, and then dragon fruit. Little bags of frozen fruits and frozen veggies are a really great way to get variety in there too, to keep it super simple. But yeah, start just playing around building, be like, do I have a source of protein? And I can send you a list too of like, here's good sources of protein. So then you can just mix and match. Like this week, I'm going to go get eggs, pork, and Greek yogurt. And then the next week you can pick 3 different ones. And same with the plant side of things, pick 3 different types of fruits and veggies. And then the next week, pick 3 different kinds on the, or go by colors.
What are your thoughts on pork? Do you find that's a healthy? Well, I know it's not as healthy as say chicken or fish or whatever, but is that a good protein in a diet?
Yeah. Well, you know what? The one way I like to answer, because I get those questions a lot where we kind of dial into one specific food and say, is this healthy or not? And I like to kind of zoom out and be like, I can't say that one specific food is either in a category of healthy or not. It's all about your whole diet and lifestyle and how does it fit into there. If you were just eating mass-produced pork and nothing else in your diet, it's like at that point it may not be the best choice. But if a couple times a week in between a variety of all fruits and veggies and other things, and you're eating in portions that support your activity levels, then I'd say, yeah, it totally fits. If it's something that you enjoy and it's easy to grab and easy to make and it fills you up, so it's not 11 p.m. and you're still thinking about food and you can't go to sleep. So anytime you're questioning if something is a good choice or not, zoom out and see how it fits into your whole diet and lifestyle.
Just say like, see, we just had Thanksgiving meal. We have leftover ham, but now I want to start that diet, and in ham, there's a lot of salt. So that's why should I eat that or, choose a different protein?
Got you. So I pride you in being like mindful and asking these questions, because it means that you really care. And same thing, I would zoom out and be like, all right, what matters most? What are the big blocks? Like, oh, I have leftover ham. That's going to fill me up. It's tasty. It's satiating. Sure. It might have a little more salt, but like, how does it zoom out? Are you having that and you've got a lot of veggies on the side, it fills you up and you like it? Because I'd say those are the big rocks, because sometimes we get too focused on that and then overwhelmed and paralyzed and can't make any decisions because we're trying to find the best source of protein. So then when we get overwhelmed like that, it's like, well, frig it, I'm paralyzed, I can't do anything. And then we end up eating all the foods that just make us feel like crap and have nothing in them.
Yeah.
So whatever can allow you to, most of the time, eat a wide variety of whole foods in portions that feel good for your body and your activity levels, if it fits into that and you can follow those, like when we boil down nutrition, sometimes we get stuck in all the little nitty-gritty details, but really we can boil it down to just, most of the time, eat a wide variety of whole foods in portions that feel good for your body and support your activity levels. So whatever can fit into that, and it doesn't even have to be all of the time, just most of the time, and you'll be doing great. Yeah. So I'd say ditch, remove a little bit of the stress about trying to find the perfect and go for what's the B- effort that I can do to try to hit a wide variety of whole foods. Yeah. So I'd say enjoy it. Great questions though, because it can get confusing and overwhelming when we get stuck in the smaller details. So just keep zooming out and being like, how does it fit with everything else?
Do you play basketball?
Does anyone else have any questions like that? I love hearing people pipe in. I hear notes here liking that tomorrow morning successes start tonight, 100%. And this will be a fun time for you guys to dig into your mindset about things, because like we just kind of broke down, the nutrition side of things is quite simple at its core. How do we find the portions that feel good for our body? Eating mostly a wide variety of whole foods, because that's the building blocks that make up this physical body. But the tough part is the mindset of how to follow through with it and make it fit in a lifestyle that's sustainable and doable and enjoyable for us in the environment that we live in. So I don't want to take up too much of your night. The one thing that I did want to share, because I found it super helpful on my journey anyways, like as we're learning to figure out what feels good in our body, is to understand, like, especially with the mindset thing, is to understand that we have multiple wants. And what I mean by that is sometimes we can get stuck in what we want by habit, what we want in the immediate, like now, like, oh, that would taste good. I want that, even though I'm already full. Or that would taste good. I want that, even though it's not going to give me the nutrients I need or whatever. So I find it helpful to zoom out and be like, okay, because we don't want to pretend that we don't want the thing, because that feels restrictive if we're just trying to ignore that our body's telling us, ooh, that tasted good, I want another one. So you can acknowledge that one, go, yeah, I want another one. And I also want to eat an amount that feels good for my body so I can sleep well tomorrow and get up and get moving and crush the workout the next day. So I find that helpful. Don't ignore your wants, acknowledge them, but also acknowledge that you have multiple other wants. I want that. And this kind of, I'm leaning towards the foods because we're in an environment of foods that are hyper palatable and it's easy to overeat. So I find that helpful going, I want that. And I want to experiment with eating different foods to see how good I can feel. So hopefully you guys can use that as a tool as you're going through this like food journaling and awareness practice to figure out what feels good for you in the moment and feels good for your future self, because everything we do today is building that future version. So that can kind of be our kind of first little kickoff for everything. If you find there's other questions you have that pop up, or you have more questions about the mindset side of things, feel free to message them to me. And next week, do you guys think 8 p.m. would be a better time, an easier time for people to get to? You guys can do a little vote since you're the ones here. Do you think 7 p.m. next Tuesday or 8 p.m. would work better for you guys? 8 might be a little bit easier, so you can kind of get things done. I'll make a little note for that. Perfect. Yeah, I'll push it. I'll do 8. So any questions that come up, message them to me. And I'm going to dive into, some of the mindset stuff. Say you fall into the habit of yo-yo dieting or overeating or emotional eating, or feeling guilt or shame around food. You know what? That's a big one. Has anyone ever felt kind of guilty while eating something or after, and then it just spirals? That may be a vulnerable thing to admit, but I'll admit that happened to me. So one thing someone told me once is that guilt is an emotion that should only be expressed if you do something illegal or immoral. And eating food and being in a different shaped meat suit for our soul, neither of those things are illegal or immoral. So anytime you catch yourself going down a little guilt or shame spiral, remind yourself, I didn't go punch someone's baby or burn a house down. I didn't do anything illegal or immoral. So guilt is not the feeling that I need to be experiencing right now. How else can I describe this feeling? Because sometimes we get caught in either negative thinking or positive thinking, which has really gained a lot of traction lately. But sometimes we think of positive thinking as like being oblivious to the issue, like whatever, it'll be fine, no big deal, it'll be fine, everything's great, which that also isn't helpful. So if you're stuck on either the negative thinking or the positive thinking, and neither of those are helping you, know that there's a middle ground of neutral thinking, which is accurate thinking, being like, oh, I did this thing, didn't make me feel great, what did I learn? Okay, next time I'm going to try ABC. So know that there's another option than just the ends of those two spectrums. Anyways, I better cut myself off because I'll keep you guys here all night. So if there's no other questions in here, I'm going to make a little post next Tuesday at 8 I'll pop back on. We can talk about mindset and little tips and tricks for making it easier to do a food journal and shreds and all that jazz. So I hope that you guys feel confident moving forward with the start of the Feel Better Challenge tomorrow. So thank you guys for sharing your time here with me. And I look forward to getting to know you guys better and helping you kickstart your journey. So thanks for being here.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, bye. I see Tash, I see you just popping on, but we were just closing up. But I'm glad that you popped on before I closed off. So if you have any questions, I can help you out right now.